Greetings to you all and welcome to Chess Collab and thank you for joining. My name is Alfred and if you haven't subscribed, please just go ahead and hit the subscribing button. Today, we are just going to move on and we're going to look at the actual naming of the chess pieces and also just a recap. Last lesson, we looked at describing the chessboard in general. So today, just be ready. Grab your chessboard and the pieces to get ready for this lesson. Right, let's just move on. Sections of the chessboard is what we are going to look at. And also we are going to look at naming of the pieces. And remember last lesson, I indicated to you that we do have 6 different chess pieces. And those are the items used to play chess as a mind game. Right, let's just dive into sections of the chessboard. Right, as you can see here, we have got the ranks. And as you can see here, just gonna quickly try to use my laser pen so that you can be able to see what exactly I am talking about. So as you can see here, the different lines which I'm just inserting right now, this represents the different ranks on the chessboard. And we do have 8 ranks on the chessboard, as you can see there. Right, then we move on to the files. These are the vertical lines on the chessboard. As you can see, in other words, we can associate them with the letters. As you can see, I'm putting the lines representing the files, which are vertical, visible lines on the chessboard. Right, then let's move on again to what we call the diagonals. We do have diagonals and all these different sections of the chessboard can be associated with the different chess pieces we are going to see as we move on. Right, so these are what we call the diagonals, as you can see here, where the yellow circles are representing the diagonals. And you can see we have got a long diagonal here, and we're going to talk more about the long diagonal as we go on. And the diagonals, to be more specific, they slice through the chessboard. As you can see here, this is what they are very good at. And you're going to see the specific piece which will be associated by the diagonals as we progress. Right. Then we move on. So far, we've already looked at these 3 distinctive sections of the chessboard. Later on, we're going to look at the center of the chessboard, which is quite critical whenever you're playing chess as well. But we are going to cover it bit by bit. Remember, I'm here to make chess very easy to follow and understand as you learn. But let's move on now to the naming of the different pieces of the chessboard. As I've already indicated, we've got 6 of them. The first one we're going to look at is the rook. That's the rook, and this is the 3-dimensional representation of the rook itself. And we have got 2 rooks for the dark black rooks there, light white rooks on the other side. Right, the next one we're looking at is the knight. The knight, we do have 2 knights for black and 2 knights for white. As you can see, I'm already indicating with the arrow there, and please check the spelling of the word knight. And I've put a line under the letter N. We're going to talk more about this as we progress, as we are going to name, to try also to learn how we can write down the moves of the game on the chessboard. Right. Let's move on. Let's look at the bishop. This is more or less like the priest. And as you can see on the chessboard, the dude does have a cross on the outfit. As you can see, the other one is on the white square, the other one is on the dark square. So please make sure to remember this because it's quite very important indeed as we move on. Right, let's move on to the king and the queen. This is the king, and please make sure that you remember the king by the cross on top of it. That's how you can easily remember the king. Right, there is where it is located initially on the chessboard, where you can say the black king will be on a white square and the white king will be on a dark square right from the beginning. And it is the most important piece on the chessboard. Once the enemy king is trapped, you win the game. But if your own king is trapped, that means you have lost the game. But we are going to look at different ways finishing the game in chess, because not all the games end up being a checkmate, or not all the games end up the game being over, as we always associate that with different other games. Right, let's move on to the queen. The queen, that's where it will start. As you can see, a black queen will start on the dark square. The white queen will start on the light square. So please remember this. Remember this all the time. I'm sure we are following together as you're also setting up your chessboard and the pieces so that you can easily remember and also learn as we progress. You can always learn along. Right. Remember, queen is the most powerful and it does not have a cross, but instead it does have a crown. Queens start on their own color, as I've already indicated. Right, this is the three-dimensional representation of the queen. Now let's move on to the next piece, which is the pawn. And this is the last piece which we are talking about. As you can see here, I'm sure you've already identified where it is located. In other words, we can just describe pawns being located for white right at the beginning, the second rank of the chessboard, whilst the black pawns are located on the seventh rank of the chessboard. So please remember that. For white, we've got 8 pawns, and for black, we also have 8 pawns. So I'm just going to bring up the three-dimensional pawns so that you can visualize them nicely, and you should be able to associate them with the actual pawn on the chessboard within your set, your chess set. Right. I'm just going to point where the different pawns are located as I am doing this. And thank you so much. That's all what I wanted to cover with you. Remember to hit the subscribe button so that when I upload the next lesson, you should be able to receive the notification right away as you learn. Thank you very much indeed.